Finally, I am live. I am live. I am live. Whew. Hello, everyone. It's good to have you. It's good to be here. Always a great experience. Huh. As we try to learn and learn better and learn bigger, a lot will change. A lot has changed. Um, Probably this video has no description or anything like that. Uh, that is not the way I wanted it to be. Hello, hello. Welcome to our live stream. Um, welcome. Today we are going to be talking about Northern Nigerian men and their mental health. And I want to start with the story of somebody I know very well who used to be a neighbor. We used to call him Baba Karfi. Baba Karfi is this, one giant kind of a man. There are people that you see sometimes that like they have what do they, superhuman strength. That is the kind of guy that Baba Karami is. Like you can call him a giant. Like he's a tall man. And Baba Karami is such a man that he's very philanthropic. He is very social. He likes to come into people's activities all the time. So he is a valued member of society. Now, what happened to Baba Karami was a tragedy. It was a very big tragedy. Now, let me tell you what happened to Baba Karami that has taught me about men's mental health, especially in northern Nigeria, where I come from, and where I am right now talking to you. Now, actually, what happened to Baba Karami? In Hausa, there is this saying that duk girman bishiya ko da ya faɗi a bayan giwa baya karya ƙashin bayan giwa. Essentially, what that means is that no matter how big a tree is, and if it breaks on the back of an elephant, then it's just like a scratch to the elephant. Now, these are the like cultural cues that keep um, men's mental health, at bay. Now, and the implication of this is that as a man, you are always expected to be superhuman. So Babak Arami actually, we started noticing that he has become irritable, and he was no longer, engaging with people again. He was keeping to himself. Some people tried to reach out to Babak Arami, but he didn't say anything. But it was obvious something has changed. Like if you know somebody and you've lived with them for a while, and then their behavior begin to change, of course you would know. Like usually we meet at our mosque early in the morning during Fajr prayer, and after that we greet, and then usually there is this small talk. about whatever. But then Baba Karfi stopped attending most sessions, stopped attending all social activities, and just kept to himself. So we later found out that Baba Karfi was suffering from, would you believe it, depression. And what was the cause of that depression? He actually invested money in, an investment that went down the drain. Now, the problem with that was that it was not actually his money. He actually borrowed the money from someone. And Baba Karami is a respected member of the society. He had three wives, he had 14 children, such that, oh my God, it was like he couldn't fathom telling anyone else of his struggles. And then he kept to himself. And then one day, he just collapsed, had a stroke, and died. So it was after Baba Karami died that we then knew, well, what has actually happened. Because you know even after your death, debt has a way of still coming back to you. And it was a tight knit community. Like, we had people who could pay for Babak Arabi's expense, but because of the cultural taboo for a man to bring himself so low as to ask for help, to the point of him being depressed, to the point of him getting heart attack and dying. Oh my God. This tells you something about what our reality is in northern Nigeria. A lot of the times when people talk about toxic masculinity, especially in this world where a lot of people are talking about feminism and all that, um, I usually raise eyebrows, but in this instance, men are really suffering. Now, I want to also, want you to understand the situation that I'm coming from. I'm talking to you right now from Maiduguri. Maiduguri is the capital of Borno State, and Borno State is in western Nigeria. Um, Borno State is in northeastern Nigeria, around the border of Cameroon, Chad, and Niger. This has been, the epicenter of the Boko Haram crisis. If you've been following the news, you would know of what do they call them? Boko Haram. Wow, this is so bright. Well, it turned out that Babak Arabi actually died, and then we actually got to know what happened at the end of because the people who he was owing money, they came, and then we had to contribute to give them back their money. Now imagine for a moment that he had the courage to talk and just said, "Oh, my friends, this is what I'm suffering from. I wish I could get some help. Please help me." And then that could have, been solved. The way we deal with business here is very, very different. Now, you have to understand that pre Boko Haram, there was no reason, like culturally, for anybody to even think of mental health for the man. Like, it was only the women that, if they have problem, they'll call usually the exorcist to come and do an exorcism. Usually, what is happening is that they're having some kind of nervous breakdown, and the solution is exorcism most of the time. And for men, there was a time literally in Maiduguri where you see a large number of madmen around public places. If you go to the market, if you go to say, where they sell spare parts. If you go to abandoned buildings, you see madmen, usually males, all of them usually males, roaming about. Some of them literally naked in Maiduguri. Who? And then you begin to wonder what is happening. Now, there is a local tale that all these people that you see that have gone mad, that it is juju. You know juju? What juju means is African magic. Okay. Hello, Hakin Aaron. Hi, hello, how are you? Great to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to see you. Where are you watching from? Where are you watching from? And let me continue my talk about Baba Karfi. Now, Baba Karfi, uh, hmm, Baba Karfi story was a tragedy. Now, it woke me up to something. Um, this is a community that has suffered from war, and the Boko Haram crisis with insurgents ever since the United States, attacked Libya and killed Muammar Gaddafi. They killed Muammar Gaddafi, and then there was proliferation of assault rifles, technicals, high caliber weapons that were finding their way all over the Sahel. And since then, we have not had peace in our region. Now, that was when Boko Haram actually started and started eliminating they started with the government, then they started killing Christians, then they came and started killing Muslims, then they came and started killing everyone, and then before you knew it, it was just chaos. So Boko Haram actually, did a lot of harm for for more than a decade. They were killing people up and down. Now you have to understand the difference between post-traumatic stress disorder and this kind of mental health issues that I want to talk about that concerns men. A lot of the time, men bottle it in, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. And I think urban men seem to suffer more with mental health issues than rural men. If you know, if you've been to rural areas or you've stayed in rural areas before, you'd understand that there is a difference and there is some depth between the men in rural areas and their kind of relationships. Like they have strong relationships, and as a community they look after each other very, very well. So I think the mental health of men in rural Nigeria is quite good. But when you come to the urban areas, now that is where the problem actually is. And you start to talk about disabilities, okay? And because there was a war recently, usually they say it is PTSD, 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 PTSD. But a lot of the problems are not PTSD. Now, what is the definition of disability? Disability is if you are impaired such that you cannot function normally as the usual people can, like as the majority of the people can. Now, in Nigeria, even though the law covers mental impairment, in reality, the only consideration is that is given is only to people who have physical impairment. Now, what does that mean in essence? That means that um, if you have ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, if you have bipolar disorder, if you have multiple personalities disorder, if you have autism, and the problem with this the mental diseases is that it's a spectrum. So it affects different people differently, and that is where the problem is actually, because since it affects different people differently, and some people are able to quite function even though they are not the same, it is not obvious, and then they people judge them and people see them as awkward. Now think of Elon Musk. Elon Musk is on the spectrum, like he's probably autistic or something like that. But he's a genius. He is a genius. Okay, now being like disabled, like having a mental disability, does not mean that you're going to be some kind of mad rogue or useless member of a society. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that your brain is wired differently, and then you see patterns where other people do not see. And sometimes there is this misrepresentation about diseases like autism and ADHD in movies, where they make it look like it's some kind of a superpower. Meanwhile, in reality, it is not. It is not a superpower. It is not a superpower. If you have ADHD, you're going to have serious problems with organizing your life. Um, First of all, your brain is always like a firework. It's always active. You have 1,000 different ideas, such that you cannot act on one. You cannot schedule your life. You cannot plan well. Well, you what ADHD means is your prefrontal cortex, this prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for executive function. Okay, actually has an impairment, so you become very repulsive, and then you can become very very irritable. You can be the kindest person, and then in a minute switch up. You can be very impulsive if you have ADHD, and then you can also be at risk of substance abuse. That's another thing too with ADHD. So as we talk about these issues, whew, we need to also understand that um, we have to start thinking about disabilities, not only in the sense that, okay, physical disabilities. We have to factor in people who have mental disabilities. Now, if somebody has autism and is on a spectrum, and that person is able to work, if the organization that he's working in will just be a little bit humanistic and understanding, and understand the situation of what it means to be autistic, then that person will not annoy them that much. If they have somebody who is an ADHD, and that person, seems to be doing things, seeing patterns, anticipating um, stuff, his brain is different. The wiring of the brain is different. So, but then they are socially awkward, and because they are socially awkward, and they can, sometimes be very, very reactive, and they cannot regulate their emotions very well. That is a disease. It's a mental, it's a neurological disease, not a mental disease, and it is what it is. Now, if you have that disability, you should be able, even if you're able-bodied, to claim disability. Yes, you should be able to claim disability. One second, please. I need to uh, ensure that I get everything sorted out, so that the light will not go off. Sorry, just a minute. I will be right back with you, and we can continue. Good. Now let's go. Um, Manchesi, what's up? What's up, Manchesi? What's up, Coginorin? And who else am I? Who else is watching? Where are you watching? What do you think of men's mental health? Um, please say something. Say something. Say something. Are you a man or are you a woman? What do you think? Do you think men have unbearable mental strength or they too have breaking points? Say something. Say something. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Now, let's continue. All right. Now, if you look at it, the way things are, especially here, what we want to advocate for, yes. Hello. Say hi. Where are you watching from? Today we're talking about men's mental health. What do you think about men's mental health? If you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. Where is the breaking point? Where is the breaking point? At what point does the man draw a line between, masculinity and neurological disorder? Where? Because if he doesn't draw that line and keeps to his masculinity, he's gonna die. That's just it. He's gonna die early. That's just it. That's just the reality. That's just the unfortunate reality. I wish it was not so, but it is obviously so. So, autism. If you are autistic, you cannot work in some factories where you know there are a lot of harmful, hazardous machines that could hurt you. Oof. And if you are an ADHD, then maybe you are not, you shouldn't be working in um, companies or factories where there's a lot of danger and there are a lot of machines that could harm or cause some injury to you because of the very nature of your brain. Because if you're an ADHD, you have a very low risk perception. Your risk perception is kind of low, so that means you take more risks, and that is not good. That is never good. Finally, I have got the connection that I'm looking for. Finally, finally, guys, um, let's talk. Tell me. What do you think? Do men have a breaking point, like mentally, or do they just have the ability to survive whatever it is? Yeah, we all know that men have a significant threshold of enduring pain more than women. But we're actually talking about mental health here. So, when does a man draw a line between his masculinity and seeking for mental health, mental health problem? If he has ADHD, if he has autism, if he has bipolar disorder, if he keeps quiet, if he keeps quiet, then it's unfortunate if he has a wife and a daughter and a child, then their lives is gonna be affected. He may die early because that's what the science says. People who are neurodivergent usually are shunned by their friends. They do not make a lot of connections, and they are more suicidal and things like that. And then somehow society doesn't feel that it's necessary for men to have mental health. Now, that is just so, oh my God, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to feel about this. But it's just so discouraging. It's just so discouraging. I wish it was not that way, but it is that way. And so, oof. Hello, guys. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me where you're watching from. So much randomness. So much randomness. Well, eh, I'm gonna have to do something. Uh, I'm trying to make the experience better for all of you. Um, I just noticed that there is no description and all that good stuff on the video, and I'm trying to give it. Man, someday I'm going to figure this YouTube. Someday I'm going to figure it out. But right now, oh my God, it's just so difficult. But I know someday, and it's not going to be very far off, I'm going to figure it out. I don't know whether you guys would like some music.
Hello guys, please don't mind me. Just give me a second and I'll be back with you. Just a minute. At first I was afraid. I was petrified. Never thought that I could be without you by my side. It's like there are a lot of insomniacs around the world. What are you guys doing not sleeping? I was not expecting anybody to be on my live today. And since the two of you are, can you please just tell me who you are, where you talking from? I have to reply to this messages. I have to. Sorry. Hmm. Well, brother, I was very awesome. This channel is just experimental. I'm going to change it. Definitely.
Oh, my God. Is it to save or to adjust? I think it's just to save. Wow. Whoever you are that is still watching, man, you are a hero, man. I don't know what to say about you, man. You rock. That is Nigeria for you. The light is gone, and we're now in darkness. And we're back. We are back. Yeah. Where is my remote? whoever it is that is still online, you rock. You rock. I cannot say thank you enough. You rock, man. I cannot say thank you enough. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I have one here, trying to make it work. Hmm. Well, well, well. Let me see. You said in your streaming software to start sending them. What? Or should I give you a link? Please download and set up your streaming software. Then paste the stream key into your software. Stream key. Hmm. I did copy the link. I did put it on. Hmm. Everything's locked. So,
When the days are cold and the cards are in the saints we see are